Hi there, I'm Sharon from FeelGoodBody. I just want to talk today about feet and what we do with our feet, whether we are sitting, standing, walking, running, doing any form of exercise, and the impacts of what we do with our feet on the rest of our body. So as we sit, often our foot is in this flex position like so. So imagine I'm sat on a chair, my leg will drop down, I'll be sat up a bit more, and my femur is 90 degrees to my shin bone, and then my foot is 90 degrees to my shin bone. If I'm sat here a lot, these muscles here at the front of my shin begin to tighten. Now this is what I recognise in office-bound people. So these muscles get really, really tight, and which is why when they come into the classes, they find it really difficult to sit with their feet like this. So they end up getting cramp a lot. Okay, so that's why they have to tuck their toes under, because that's what they're used to being in that position there, and not that. So I recommend, if that's you, you just gradually take yourself there, and maybe don't put so much weight back, so you might have to be slightly more up, but just think that those muscles there, those ligaments there, are receiving good stretches, which is probably what you need. And if these are getting stiffer and tighter, you're becoming less mobile actually at your ankle joint. And then you're becoming more and more at risk of tripping and falling. Not a good thing. We kind of associate that with elderly people, but you know, if you notice you don't have that ankle mobility because you're stiffening up here, then do work on that. And there's lots of ankle exercises, and maybe I'll go over that another time. But I particularly wanted to focus on is how you ground your feet. And this is important. We want to look at the impact on the rest of our body. So if you know you roll your foot out, most people actually don't know this, do they? They don't know. They don't recognise this very much. But if you were to be somebody who rolls their foot out a lot, you can just see my ankle is bowing out here, okay? And then, but my knee's connected up here, and I probably have some impact on my knee in some place. It could be on the outside, could be on the inside. And then that transfers up into the hip, and it throws the whole femur out in the hip socket. And so then you get issues into the hip socket and the back of the pelvis there. So, and also if you're inside, lots of people roll inwardly here. I can't do it because I don't do that. So this is where the arch collapses down. You might know you have you're flat-footed, or you have collapsed arches. So these exercises that I'm going to give you in a moment are really going to help you out as well there. So what we should have is, when we're standing, we should have a natural ball of foot contact, outside of foot contact, and heel contact. And you won't see, if you were to put your wet foot on a dry stone, you could see your footprint. You wouldn't be able to see necessarily much of a print at all around the inside edge of your foot. You'll just see that outer shape of the foot, from the ball of the big toe down the ball of the big toe, across here, down there, and that heel section. You won't see that part make contact on the floor. So in my classes, I talk about and teach and guide people to ground their feet evenly. Okay, so if they're not doing that, then you can do all that you like in the correction of your posture, but you're constantly going to be ungrounding and unstable because of what you're doing or not doing with your feet. So be mindful of this with whatever you do. If you squat, you're lunging, you're running, just try and think about the placement of your feet. Obviously that changes and that's dynamic as you're running, so that's maybe another subject, another time here. But if you're doing the static postural work, look at this, okay? This is what I teach people, and this really, really helps impact so much of the body. So let me take you through this. I ask people to ground from the ball of the big toe to the ball of the little toe. I often ask them to do that with their foot down, and then they lift the toes up like that. Okay. So on the floor, you'll be grounding from the ball of your big toe to the ball of the little toe, and from the ball of the little toe, lengthen to your outer heel. Okay. you'll probably feel a bit more pressure to the outer edges of your foot. Then ask them to keep that, and then imagine you're lengthening, or feel like you're lengthening from the ball of the big toe to your inner heel, like you're lengthening, stretching that inner plane of your foot. And then from there, so from there to there, and then from that inner heel, broaden as if you could towards the outer heel. So that allows you to ground back into the ball of the big toe. If you excessively rotated and overground here, it brings more balance back into that whole foot. So you have an even grounding and lengthening in your foot plate. Try it. See how that impacts on what you do. Try not doing it, because sometimes it's quite subtle. So if you were to not do it, try not grounding and then grounding your foot. Okay, so perhaps if you want to try this in a squat situation, squat, not particularly paying any attention to your feet, and then squat. Also particularly beneficial when you're just working on lengthening your spine in a standing or situation. I often get people to stand with their backs against the wall. Really good postural analysis tool there, just for you to take away and do that at home. Just stand up with your back against the wall, feet possibly slightly away from the wall, get the back of your pelvis there, get the back of your shoulder blades against the wall, get the back of your head against the wall, and then work into the grounding of your feet. And work up that like a chain effect up through the body. Ground your feet, lengthen your legs, lengthen your spine, broaden your spine, lengthen the back of the neck, and see where you get to that and the impacts of that. Okay? You can email me if you would like further information. It is info@feelgoodbody.co.uk. And look at my website also, which is www.feelgoodbody.co.uk, and there's always links there to email me from there. Also on Facebook as well. Okay, well, have a good day, and have a look at your feet. Pedicure time. Thanks ever so much. Bye.